Good afternoon. Thanks for joining me today. So I've got a little haul. These are fragrances that I have purchased in the last 2 months. So it's kind of since, where are we? March, since February. Hello, work. What's up? It's a February, March kind of collective fragrance haul. Those that have entered my fragrance collection. So just a little overview of the ones that I have actually included. Just setting up like a little area like I usually do in my kitchen. I figured I'd just bring you up to my perfume cabinet and just go straight in here because honestly I can't be bothered to take them all out of the cupboard and then have to put them all back in. So we're just gonna dive straight into the full collection. So many samples come through from friends. I've still got tons to go through. My good friend Yulia from the channel Scent Sibling sent me a load of wonderful samples all the way from Canada, so those are really special and I've got to go all through those. And Nicola from the Sniff, fabulous lady from up north, sent me a ton of samples as well, and I've still got all those to go through, so I've got a lot to go through here. That'll keep me occupied for some time, but I've already found maybe a couple of winners from in this box. Let's just step inside my creaky old antique cabinet here and see what we've got that is new on the shelves. Let's start with really what I think is my most excited purchases, and the ones I'm just so pleased to have in my collection. So they've definitely found their way right at the front. Parfum de Marly behind, colour coordinated with the bag. And we're not going into that. I don't know why I'm waffling about that. So the two new ones I have are Harvest Mouse and Chipmunk. So it's not going to be like a full review, obviously, of each fragrance. It's going to be a quick overview of what I've got that's new, because I don't have any notes to hand, and I've just me going off the cuff, really. So let's start with Harvest Mouse. So this is the one I've been really excited to get hold of since it launched. I think it was, I've forgotten already, it was February, wasn't it? February the 17th or something? Since I got a sample from Claire from channel Smurfy Girly, I've just been anticipating the launch of this because I fell in love with it pretty much straight away. Such a cute animal to work a fragrance around, and it really does, the scent really does come with the animal's environment. It's absolutely adorable and charming. I would really summarize this is an aromatic vanilla complete with, I don't know, fields of barley and beer hops. It's actually very soft, it's very approachable, it's not challenging in any possible way, but it still does still have a perfume quality to bring it into the light a little bit more, because it's absolutely adorable. Absolutely adorable. Let me get the lid off. Hang on. Just getting the lid off there. I could just lose myself in this scent. I really do get those beer hops. It's beer CO2, I believe, that's put through here. And there's a little bit of like an aniseed fennel opening. It could be anise. That disappears and you're left with a really beautiful aromatic vanilla. Nothing green. Aromatic in a non-green sense. More of a sort of hay, wheaty, yeah, beer kind of sense. Very unusual without being challenging. Highly worth checking out. But like I say, extremely happy to have that one. Now, despite how much I do love all of my zoologists, and I do have a connection to all of them in one way or another, out of the four, the one I've been reaching for the most and really connecting with is my other new addition, and that one is Chipmunk. Now, I did actually do a sampling sniff off on one of my last videos, and I think I said that it was possibly a little bit too animalic without enough of the nuttiness coming through. And once I wore that a lot more, my sample a lot more, I started to really vibe with it and start to find so many qualities in it that I just felt was so me. And actually the nuttiness does come through. I believe there's hazelnut. I think there's two types of nut. I think there's hazelnut and nutmeg, if I'm not mistaken. But you really do get that nut quality coming through, and it never goes lactonic, which I think a lot of nut fragrances can do. This one stays quite dry and woody. That charming image of the chipmunk at the front. I believe that he's supposed to be like a Boy Scout there. Really adorable. Much like Harvest Mouse, I find this very wearable, very approachable, non-challenging, very day wear, and I just find it, I can resonate with it really well. And I think what I love about it, let me bring it into the light like the other one, because it's just a bit dark in the cabinet there. What I really love about Chipmunk is that it gives me all the most charming and agreeable elements of an environment that I really enjoy, and that is when I'm with my pets, my small mammal hutched pets. I've got guinea pigs and a rabbit, and I'm there a lot. That's my favourite place in the world, is just feeling like there's nothing else outside of it and just feeling really relaxed, really calm, really at one with the environment that I feel very at home with. It seems to bring that quality. You've got a sort of a clean sawdust smell without it being too dry. You've got so many different woods in here. Again, that nutty quality is what brings such a charming moorish sort of sweet element to the fragrance. It's so friendly and it's not too animalic. I like that it doesn't go dirty. You sort of think it's going to go there, but it doesn't, and it stays really smooth and warm and just mild. So that is the beautiful and very charming Chipmunk. So one I don't think I've mentioned it on a video before. I got this quite early on in February. Rouge Smoking from BDK. It is a very popular fragrance in the fragrance community, and I've had a sample of this for quite some time and I never connected to it. I never even really thought I would enjoy it, and I just dismissed it. And then for whatever reason I came back to my sample and then just started wearing it, and I'm so addicted to wearing this. It's like nothing else I've got. It's not, I wouldn't even call it like a perfume. It's got a strange, soft, comforting, non-assuming way about it. It doesn't wear you. It just sort of melds with the mood. It's a very sort of soft, rubbery, bubblegummy, warm feeling. I think there might be cinnamon in here. There's something hot. There's something that smells a little bit hot. Not even as far as going spicy. Like a cinnamon rubber bubblegum with a very soft, cherry rubbery undercurrent. I don't know how else to describe it really. I'm just so surprised I've ended up with this fragrance, and I'm surprised that I'm enjoying it so much. It's completely in its own category, this one, and I just, yeah, really enjoying it, surprisingly. So this next one I feel a little bit sheepish about, because honestly it it kind of replaces one I already had, which practically smelt the same. It's just nonsensical, non-logical purchase. Honestly, I see it for what it is. It still didn't stop me from trading this in for one I already had. I say trading it in, this was a bit more expensive. I had Mula Mula from Byron. It's practically the same scent profile. It is. I stopped wearing it because I felt like it was lacking something. It just was lacking a bit of soul or something. And I had a sample of La Capitale, and I was very aware that I preferred it, but I didn't want to go there because, you know, it's like practically the same thing. And I ended up selling Mula Mula simply because I wasn't wearing it and I wasn't enjoying it. And then someone on eBay was selling a bottle of La Capitale. And I just pulled the trigger on it and just thought, you know, I like this one more. And I think it's because there's more depth to it. There's a leather note in here, which I find gives it a bit more gruffness, but gives it a bit more of a serious backbone. More finesse, let's say. Obviously, the bottle is completely beautiful. I always like these bottles. But yeah, that's Le Capitale from Xerjoff. It's a strawberry leather caramel fragrance. Apparently it's very similar to one from Stephan Humbert Lucus called Venom Incarnate, is it? Very sweet, very sort of strong, heavy scent. But it is a really lovely one for certain occasions. It's not an everyday scent of good performance if you're going out and you want something noticeable and sweet. And yeah, what can I say? I've got it. I'm enjoying it. There you go. So coming down the shelf, I've got some new ones lurking in here. I'm just going to quickly mention one that I actually only purchased yesterday from a friend, and it's one that I sold to her actually a little while back, and she was looking at selling it, and I revisited it and bought it back from her. So again, nonsensical in terms of how much is spent on perfume, but I'm really pleased to have it back actually. So this is not actually available, so I'm going to skip over it fairly quickly. Lavender Illusion from the Victor and Rolf Magic Collection. This whole line never really took off, I don't think. Most of them weren't that great. The Dancing Roses obviously gets a lot of hype. Lavender Illusion was my second favourite in the line. It's a very astringent, aromatic blackcurrant scent with sort of lavender nuances. It's not overly lavendery. But I like that the lavender in here doesn't go into a fougere direction or a vanilla direction. Stays quite astringent but cold and clean, and the blackcurrant just brings a nice fruity edge to it. So I was happy to have it back in my collection. So that is that one. So moving along, we have two new ones standing here and glaring at me. So let's start with the Kayali. Now I have to thank Yulia for sending me a sample of this one, because this is the reason I've ended up falling in love with it. Now this is the first Kayali that I've ever really been excited by. I've smelt pretty much all of the others now, and I've never found that they're okay. I didn't feel excited about any other fragrances from Kayali. I think they're very clever marketing, very clever brand. They know about trending, and they know, you know, how the market is, where the preferences are, and I think they make fragrances quickly and they chuck them out quickly, and they hit the mark, I think, you know, with trends, but I feel like they maybe stepped slightly further out the comfort zone and was more risky or risque with how they were creating a fragrance. And I think that's why I'm enjoying it, because it has a lot more personality. It was launched last year. It's got nothing to do, in my opinion, with the other vanilla that's very popular, the Vanilla 28, is it called? I don't think there's any connection to that whatsoever. I find that just so typical of vanillas and kind of boring. This one has so much personality. It's very, I would call it a really dark vanilla. When I spray this, I feel like really what I'm getting is dark chocolate or bitter chocolate with coffee, almost a treacle sensation. There's a lot of darkness in here. Now, I know the focus here obviously is a patchouli. Not that comfortable with a strong patchouli or most patchoulis. In here, I just don't think I'm getting a typical patchouli. I'm getting something that's more chocolatey, dry, because patchouli is dry, but it's more like a sort of a bitter coffee meshed with bitter chocolate. The patchouli is like that. It's got some really nice gourmand-ish element or personality. But the vanilla is really good. It's a really strong, dark vanilla. This bottle is so reflective. Let me just bring it over here. I'm actually going to give it a little sniff. That woody... You can pick out the patchouli. I mean, it's that dark, woody, dry kind of scent. But it's just, everything is so well blended. I think that's what it is. It's just very, very well made, I think, with this one. I think just a really well executed fragrance. I kind of put it in the same category. They're not smelling the same as Baby Cat from YSL. They don't smell the same, but if I fancy a dark vanillic scent, I would fancy both of them, either one. They both offer me the same feeling, kind of cozy, warm, dark, a little bit alluring. So yeah, I'm really enjoying that one, and actually it's made me pay more attention to the brand and keep an eye on what they're doing, because I think it's like upped the game a bit. Now let's move on to the next one. This is the one that's glaring at me. And in the same kind of category, really, again, they both have this sort of dark gourmandish personality. So here we have Sand Dance from, hang on, I'm going to pronounce that right, Stephan, Humbert, Lucus. There you go. And this was my very exciting, somewhat worrying and risque blind buy of March. It's making the bottle look like it's a caramel colour. It's actually not. It's much darker than that. And it's appropriately sitting next to Black Phantom, actually, because they do have a very similar personality. But I have to say, Sand Dance has completely stolen my heart. I love it, and I'm so relieved, actually, because obviously, like I say, this was a blind buy. It's a little risky, but thank goodness it worked out. So this is let me take it to the window. This is basically a woody whiskey, ambery, chocolatey fragrance. It's actually quite refined. I've never been a fan of these bottles. It's not the bottle that I was the reason I wanted to buy it, because I've always thought they look a little bit, I don't want to say tacky. The red one and the blue one makes it seem more tacky. I do think the brown one looks rather nice. So I first heard about Sand Dance from Hayley, from the channel with the same name. I watch her a lot, and she does show a lot of really great niche fragrances. She likes a lot on this line, but she enjoys Sand Dance, and I loved how she always described it as an Irish cream liqueur, or like a, you know, with the whiskey, and poured over as many reviews as I could find about this fragrance. And people would describe it as being a bit like Black Phantom, only not as dense, not as heavy, not as syrupy. And I just enjoyed every review. I just think it sounded lovely. And I first sprayed this, I did get that Black Phantom vibe in the opening. I did. That same sort of ambery, syrupy, sweet, not nutty, but the same quality that it has. It definitely is in the opening of this. And the opening of this goes into more of a whiskey territory, whereas Black Phantom is more rum and more sugary, syrupy. This has, I think it's mandarin as well. So it's like you're drinking whiskey with a slice of mandarin in there. But there's as much chocolate in the opening as well as the whiskey. And I definitely get chocolate. But the chocolate comes across as quite melted, smooth and melted, because of the sandalwood, bringing that very smooth, creamy, woody quality. And I honestly think, to some degree, I get almost all the notes in this without them clashing or without them seeming unfinished. There's tonka, which definitely brings a slight powdery quality. The booziness is lovely, creamy. I just find it so delicious without being a typically sugary you know, juvenile gourmand. It's definitely a gourmand for adults. It has such a refined quality, and I think there's enough woody facets in here to stop it being a straight up food. And the woodiness brings a more finished, refined, perfumed, you know, something you want to wear as a perfume as opposed to a snack. But also I think I like the fact that it isn't too heavy. It's not too dense. It doesn't feel like it's wearing you. This one has a really lovely, softer nature about it as well. It's absolutely beautiful, and it kind of suits this mood I've clearly been in for darker, woody, edging on gourmand type of fragrances. They seem to be really hitting the spot. So I'm really happy to have got Sandance. Put that one back where it belongs in its little house. I've done quite a lot of decluttering lately as well, so that could be another video. So I still have my rule of having a certain number in my collection and not wanting to go over it. I'm really that's the only thing that's stopping me from getting overwhelmed. Like, I mean, this is overwhelming. This is crazy, but I had to have some limit. Got to be some limit and discipline. And 100 is really, I think, is a crazy amount. So that's enough. If I get something new, it will probably trump something else in my collection and raise the bar higher. So there has to always be something that can go when something comes in. It just has to be. So there you have it. They are my new fragrances to my collection. Sorry the reviews were pretty brief. It's just going to be a brief one. So thanks so much for watching as always, and I'll see you on the next one. Over and out.